We've got my old schoolmate. He was the lead singer of Bros. He's been a subject of a BAFTA-winning documentary. He has been Sinatra in Vegas. Mr. Matt Goss!
I'm still the youngest man in history to headline Wembley Stadium. Like when you come out and you've got 77,000 people and you're just like, it's just one of the most incredible experiences. And then we ended up doing 15 consecutive nights at Wembley. I was told that gross sales went up by at least 1/3 globally and then never sent us one single bottle of beer.
You fucking tight bastards.
Yeah, we would sell 400,000 to 500,000 singles a week.
And I think you did steal my dinner money once.
Every one of your girlfriends. I remember we did a deal with Pepsi. There were 4,000 people outside my mum's house in Peckham.
I bet she loved that.
My brother said he's had enough. We went into the charts at number 9 instead of like the top 3. And then the press was like, is this the end of Ross? He was like, hello, Matt. Reggie Kray gave me this bracelet and matching cufflinks. So it says the Krays, London.
Any celebrities come down and get out of hand?
I mean, Ricky was pretty hilarious. Have my back.
Have my back?
Behind my back.
Behind my back.
That's my toast.
Big shout out to our sponsor, Private Internet Access VPN. Now imagine this, I'm on a computer, I'm scrolling through and an ad pops up. It's as if somebody's spying on me. It's like somebody's peeping through my virtual curtains. And that someone, well, it's no other than the old internet service provider. Knowing every click, every scroll and every breath I take online. Now Private Internet Access is the ultimate solution to this digital invasion. I ain't one to hand over my laptop to a stranger, so why would I hand over my browsing history to an internet service provider? Private Internet Access puts the power back into your hands, giving you the privacy you deserve. Hiding your IP address and locking down your internet connection so it's tighter than Fort Knox. No more prying eyes, no more data snatchers. Now let's talk streaming. Ever felt like you've exhausted every show and every movie out there? Well, turns out there's a whole new world of content in a whole new host of regions. Private Internet Access, well, it's your golden ticket to unlocking them all. So it allows you to change your geolocation to 91 countries worldwide. It even allows you to switch to a different US state. And listen up folks, this isn't just for tech wizards and code monkeys. Private Internet Access is so easy to use, even your grandma could set it up, with apps for all your devices and the ability to protect them all under one subscription. It's a no-brainer. So if you want to enjoy the benefits of Private Internet Access, now's the time to subscribe. Head to piavpn.com/criminalconnection for an 83% discount. That's just $2.03 a month, which is about £1.60. And you also get 4 extra months completely free on me, the Podfather. But you must go to piavpn.com/criminalconnection for a truly private digital life. One last time, piavpn.com/criminalconnection. Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name is Terry Stone, and today we've got my old schoolmate from Camberley in Surrey. He was the lead singer of Bros. He's been a subject of a BAFTA-winning documentary. He has been Sinatra in Vegas. He is a legend. Please put your hands together for Mr. Matt Goss is in the house. Hey!
An audience of one.
No, there's lots of people here.
No, I know.
How you doing, mate?
It's good to see you, bro.
Good to see you.
See you too.
Good to see you. So most people watching or listening to this will not believe that we went to school together.
I know, most people also believe that you're younger than me, which is...
I actually look older. I should be the other way around. Yes, it's the hair, I think. I need to get some hair.
I'm still hanging into it, Beth, for the love of God. I'm keeping it a bit...
Maybe if I went to Turkey...
We'll get the straight line.
Get the straight line.
The Lego hand line.
But nobody, I think, would have believed we was at school together. But a funny story for all the viewers and listeners. I'm actually 3 years younger than you, I believe.
I know, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
When I look at you, I feel like calling you Dad.
And yeah, I remember at school, obviously you was above me, and I think you did steal my dinner money once.
No, I've never have stolen.
Well,
no.
maybe it was you stole my refreshers.
Maybe one of your girlfriends.
One of my girlfriends, or all of my girlfriends. But I remember at school, you know, and I don't. Bros wasn't formed then, was it? It was just you singing and your brother. You was sort of musical.
Well, we were in a band. We had bands all the way through our schooling, but
So what was your Collingwood school band called?
Oh my God, proper dodgy names. We had one called Epitome.
Right.
We had Caviar. We didn't have a clue. We just knew it was expensive. We didn't know what it was. and then our final name was, we rehearsed it, and my still good mate Chris Herbert, his dad Bob Herbert's place in Camberley, and he was they had a summer house, so we were called Summer House.
Right.
And then Nicky Graham the late Nicky Graham came to introduce us to Tom Watkins.
Wow.
And who managed the Pet Shop Boys at the time, and then then they said, let's call us Bros because of brothers.
Right. Or now it'd be Bros.
Bros, exactly, yeah. When I'm in America, they goes, yeah, you're in the band Bros.
So obviously, what year was it? And how old was you when Bros actually was formed and you was?
I think we were 17 years old.
Wow.
17. We signed our deal. We signed our deal with management when we were 17.
Right. Okay.
And we were meant to sign with Arista Records when we were 16.
Yeah.
That we got discovered, I guess, by Arista.
Yeah.
And then the day of the signing, they passed on us, and we thought that was the end of our career. We were, oh my God, we're never going to get another record deal.
What's wrong with these fucking people?
I know, but it's brilliant because it was one of those situations. We were number one all over the world.
Right.
About 2 years after that, and
right.
we in a restaurant, and the guy that passed on us was going to sign us, and then passed on us was in the restaurant, and we were really excited to see him. We weren't bitter, or it was just like, and he was like, we went up to him to say hello, and he was like, I know. And we're like, no, we're just really happy to see you again, because it was like he was the guy that actually put the idea that we could actually get a record deal, and then anyway, Sony came in and signed us.
I know it's childish, but I'd have sent him a bottle of champagne over, and when he looked up, I'd think,
don't get me wrong, it felt good that there were like a couple hundred people outside the restaurant, and we were number one, but it was. But no, I don't really operate that way.
Yeah, I'm joking.
I know,
that's just something childish.
No, you're not, Terry.
But that was the only regret, that when you launched your band and you become this sort of international pop star, that you never recruited me as a roadie, because at the time I was working in McDonald's.
You've done all right for yourself, Terry. I'm very honestly so happy that we're mates, and so proud of you that what you've done. Like really, I mean that. Like you just always prevailed, and you operate in such in a kind way. I'm super proud of you, mate.
Thank you, mate. Well, I'm the same as you, because I remember literally then sort of seeing from afar your career take off, the fame, and everyone used to sort of like locally all be going, I can't believe that was those fellas at the because obviously it's very rare that at state school, on a council estate, that you get pop stars just like popping off. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that you and
you're talking about the Old Dean.
Yeah, the Old Dean, that lovely place.
It was funny because we had a manager from the Old Dean, and he was like, he was the best and worst manager I've ever known in my life, because he would make you believe that everything was possible, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But I remember he said, we're going to rent Concord out.
Yeah.
And we're going to get you to play to all the execs on Concord, which sounds brilliant, doesn't it? When you're like 14 years old and you've got a manager telling you you're going to rent out Concord, but A, it costs you about a couple of million quid to rent it out. Secondly, it's like the corridor in the Concord is like about this wide, so we'd all be like playing single file. But at the time, we didn't think about any logistics. We're like, we're going to be playing Concord. But he lived on the Old Dean, and we used to go around and bunk off school and go around in his living room, and we'd like come up with all these grandiose plans and everything. Like, but that was our first manager when we were about 14 years old.
Because Chris was in my year, Chris Herbert, and was he involved in the Spice Girls?
Well, my brother dated Nikki.
Right.
That was his girlfriend. So Nikki was his girlfriend, my brother's girlfriend. So I used to watch them having a good time in a steamy MG outside our house. Thinking, why isn't it me?
But I think you did all right, mate, didn't you?
I did all right, yeah.
You did all right.
I've done all right over the years, mate.
Obviously, as these things happen, one of the things that I don't know if you were famous for or you were blamed for was literally everybody in the world, like basically taking the Grolsch bottle tops
no,
out.
it's definitely. So we
and was it in the brogues? It was in the brogues, wasn't it?
No. So what happened is I was doing a photo shoot, and there was some beer, and I was like looking at my Doc Martens and the lace, you know, where the lace is going. I was like, just take it off and put it on there, and I literally just put it on there because I was bored one day, and I thought, you know, for the photo shoot, why not?
Right.
And then about a couple of weeks later, we were driving down Kensington High Street, and I saw somebody have the same thing on their shoe. I'm like, what's the odds of that? Somebody doing the same as me.
Right.
And then a week later, I realised it was like a global, became a global trend.
I mean, it was a bit like, do you remember the Beastie Boys when they
And the
had
Volkswagen.
them Volkswagen signs?
But gross sales went up by, I was told that gross sales went up by at least 1/3 globally.
Right. Wow.
And then never sent us one single bottle of beer.
You fucking tight
I know,
bastards.
tight fuckers. and they did a commercial recently, and they said, "Oh, Bros created the legend, whatever it was."
Wow.
And they didn't use our music or us.
That's a liberty.
Bollocks. I want to do another. If any other beer brand is watching, I want to advertise a new beer and show. Throw away the
Do you know
gross
something?
bottle tops.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but just imagine if you'd have known that was going to happen, and you could have run Grolsch up and said, "Listen, if I put this."
Well, different now, isn't it? Different now. I think
Yeah.
back then it was. If we'd had social media back then,
Yeah.
you'd have 50 million followers, and it would have been incredible. But it's just, back then, if you got written about and they, something said something bollocks about you wasn't true,
Right.
you'd have to wait for the next interview. You couldn't put it right on social media. You had to literally wait for the next big interview to say, well, that interview wasn't right. Well, that's not true. You couldn't actually get to the public unless you were interviewed.
But there's also a lot of bollocks on social media, isn't there? I mean, how do you find it? I mean, obviously, being older guys, it is a young man's game, in it, social media. It's
I don't think it's a young man's game. I think it's but I feel like I do find it uncomfortable, like the TikTok stuff, and
Right.
when you got I don't think we should be dancing around.
thing is, though,
just
you
to
can
try and-
dance, though, mate. You can
Not
dance
really.
and sing.
I mean, I can perform, but I feel like social media is like you always want to put your best foot forward, and I think that is the problem.
Right.
Sometimes we go through, you're going through a lot of stuff. You're going through pain within your personal life or your family or whatever you're going through. But I feel like you feel like that there's always a need to put your best foot forward, and I think that can be quite damaging sometimes. I feel like, for me certainly, I don't always want to post, because if I'm having a tough week or a tough day, I don't want to pretend I'm not having it.
Right. And how do you deal with that, Matt? Because lots of people that are watching this all think that, celebs or people that are in the public eye or people that have made money all live in gilded cages and are all happy all the time. But obviously on the other side of it, when you do have tough times or you do go through trauma, what do you sort of tend to sort of do to get through it?
I wish I could say. I mean, my family is quite disjointed. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of how it's all ended up. Really, it's not landed in a place that I would have wished it would have landed.
Right.
My family is fragmented. It's not like we're not as close as I'd like to be, and I feel like sometimes fame. They say that people change around you, and sometimes I think that's the case. Sometimes as to your point, I think they think that everything is hunky dory, and you don't need a hug, or you don't need a good chat, or you don't need to allow out tears. You need to do all those things.
Yeah.
And I pride myself. I'm an able-bodied man. I'm a strong guy, but I don't feel inclined to always be on. I guess is the right way. I don't always want to be on. I'm quite a private person. So that's why I come here, because I know you, and I want to be here and do what you're doing and support what you're doing, and that's meaningful to me. If it's not meaningful, I can't pretend. I can't bullshit and say,
"Oh,
it's
hi.
important
How
to
are
me."
you today?
Yeah, but it's true. Like having a chat with my mate and supporting you, that's important to me. So I don't necessarily feel like I'm part of the club in the UK. Coming out of America. And really, really, I'm so prideful of my legacy in Vegas and that show and what we did.
Yeah.
Over 11 years. But coming back, I feel like people want to ram me into that fucking box of being Matt Goss and Bros. I'm very proud of being in that band. It's an
What
incredible
you got to
experience.
do, mate, when people say that to you, you got to say, I'm Matt Goss from Bros. not
Yeah, Bros.
You've got
Bros.
to correct them, Bros.
But it's just, I feel like it's just not, as a man, you know, I still got aspirations. I still want to, I still want to achieve. I still want to create legacy. I want to contribute. So I'm focusing on stuff like I'm doing, written a new song for Not Forgotten Charity for the soldiers and the troops. I'm an honorary captain in the American Army, so I was able to do a lot of philanthropic work in America where I felt fulfilled, you know. I just hope, you know, the industry here allows me to be a man and contribute and sing and write and create as a man that has experienced a lot of life and a lot of this industry. I find it very, very frightening almost to just feel like being here, I've got to be, you know, put into a certain kind of box. I just can't handle that. I just can't handle it.
I think the problem with I don't know if it's the same in America, but I know it's the same here. You get put in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, you're either the pretty guy, the boy band guy, the working class guy, the posh guy. Do you know what I mean? You get in a box, and then for you to change that sort of perception is hard. But I do think you can make your own luck. And I think the reason why I wanted you, obviously, on the podcast, Matt, was obviously to talk about your career, talk about your life, but also talk about what you're doing. And there's a lot of things that people don't know about you,
right?
Which we're obviously going to talk about. But you know, going back just before we get into that to the actual day, you know, when you actually had your first record that went out and you got into the charts and you was on, obviously lots of people won't even know what Top of the Pops is now.
I know.
But there was that was basically a weekly show which showcased, you know, amazing singing talent, and obviously you'd have people doing different things. Did you ever meet Ray Santilli?
Ray Santilli. Ray's one of my best mates. He's my brother. He's my. Sometimes I'm his big brother. Sometimes he's my big brother.
Because he killed me because I met him, and I never met him before, and we got chatting, and he was talking about doing a movie, and he said, oh, you know, I'm doing this movie. I want you involved. We can do this and we can do that together, and I said, how did you get into the business? He said, I made the Birdie song.
yeah.
And I went,
he's the most diverse. He's got so much. Like he's such a great businessman, and he's a really kind fella. I love him.
Did he ever tell the story about the Birdie song though?
No.
So I've got to share it because it's so funny.
Right.
So he said literally, and he said these were in his words, not mine, mate. He said we just fucking around the studio. We did this song. It's really cheesy, really crap, but we just put it out for a laugh. And he says, then the week after, we get a phone call from Top of the Pops saying, "Oh, you're number one." He's like, number one.
Was he on Top of the Pops, right?
It was number one.
Was he on Top of the
but,
Pops?
but you wouldn't have known it was him because he said, well, I can't even play a fucking keyboard, right? So
Good guitar player, though.
I've never seen him
He's
play
a good
that.
guitar player,
But
yeah.
they got on the stage with these like pianos that weren't plugged in, and they dressed up as birds. So it was just these birds.
I can't wait to pull him after this.
And he said to me, I said, fucking hell. I said, how much money did you make out of it? He said, we made $5 million. And he said, I'm still getting, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds a year still in royalties. And I said, I bet you've been trying to do the fucking Birdie song too ever since.
That doesn't surprise me. Ray's got like Sinatra catalogue, Elvis catalogue.
Yeah.
He's become a very good mate.
Yeah, he's great, Ray.
Yeah.
So when you actually first had that thing, when they rang you and they went, Matt, going on Top of the Pops, we're in the charts. What was it like? I mean,
Well, it was. I'll never forget. We were in Peckham. We were in 314 Commercial Way, and I remember like we were told that there's a good chance that we're going to be number 40 into the top 40. And back then, so people understand, back then it was like it was a music religion. It was like you if the top 40 meant everything. It was either you made it or you didn't make it. If you didn't make the top 40,
well, also record sales then.
Massive,
were massive. Now, like, you know, if you get a few thousand, you can be in the charts. But back then, you had to sell a lot.
We would sell 400,000 to 500,000 singles a week.
Wow.
So 500,000 singles a week. Now you could get, I don't know, 10,000. You get in the top 10, I think. But streaming's taken over, which is also manipulated, which is part of the industry that I think makes the industry difficult to, validate in some ways. But I remember we were in bed, and we were so much stress in the house almost, because we were always like, oh, we're going to make the top 40, and it said, and they went at number 40, and it wasn't us, and we were like, oh fuck. So number 39, they went, and it's their debut entry. They've done it. This is the Wembley famous Bros. So we number 39, and within that, I think we were in the charts for like 87 weeks.
Wow.
And that was it. And to your point, Top of the Pops was an incredible show to record, because there were 5 different stages,
right?
And every stage had a legend on it. So and it was recorded as live.
Wow.
So
was Jimmy Savile on there then? Was he country?
No, he wasn't. But
who was on there then? Because it was
like Steve Wright, Pat Sharp, Bruno Brooks, was it?
Yeah, Bruno. Yeah.
The other
David Lee Travis.
David Lee Travis, yeah. Brilliant DJs.
And when you first went on there and did that, did it eat you by then, or did you sort of think, "Fucking hell, we're actually quite good at this"?
Well, I remember the first time I remember there was this lady. She was hyperventilating outside my mum's house. She was really, really, really not in a good way. And I said, wait there. I ran indoors and I got some water. I said, Mum, this lady's having I think she's having a panic attack or something's going on. It's not right. Came out and she wasn't there. And about 20 minutes later, and I was really concerned for this lady. 20 minutes later, there's about 10 people outside my mum's house having panic attacks. What I thought they were. And my mum said, I think it's because of you, son. Because we were like on smash hits as well.
You have that effect on women though, mate. I've seen it.
Well,
I've seen it.
You're feeling the circulation a little bit, yeah. But no, it was just one of those moments where we were just like, it didn't compute that it was because of me and that was our first experience of fandom, really. And then after that, I remember we did a deal with Pepsi, and there were 4,000 people outside my mum's house in Peckham.
I bet she loved that.
And it was just mad. And Pepsi brought down this big truck and gave out free bottles and stuff.
Wow.
It was really mad. So we really turned Peckham upside down.
And from there, I mean, obviously, I remember looking, and you kept hitting that number 2 chart position.
Yeah.
And it must have been so fucking annoying. You're like, why can't we be number 1?
Well, to your point, it's like you had to sell so many records, it's like, and
who beat you on those ones?
I think on the Wembley famous, it was Tiffany. I think You're Alone Now. Right. But it was like, it was still like number 1 in 35 countries.
Yeah.
All over the world.
But when you got your first number 1,
I Owe Nothing. Yeah.
That was. I mean, it's funny because whenever you speak to anybody, When Will I Be Famous and I Owe You Nothing, they're the songs that everybody seems to just, if you say, Ross, name me their songs, they seem to be the top 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, and it must have been crazy when you did your first tour as well.
Yeah, we did. They put us on tour, and we did 4 nights at Hammersmith Odeon. And I remember going to the Hammersmith flyover and go, one day I'm going to play that venue. It was just almost as big as you could dream at that point. It was like, because I saw Depeche Mode there and I wanted to play there. And then they said, we're going to add another night, 5 nights, but we're going to add, the 5th night's going to be at Wembley.
Right.
And we're like, that was our first tour, 4 nights at the Hammersmith and 1 night at Wembley. And it was just, that was a pinch me moment for sure. Like, and then we ended up doing 15 consecutive nights at Wembley and at Wembley Stadium.
I mean, that's at that point, though, you must have looked at your brother and said, "We done it, bro."
Yeah, Wembley Stadium it's still in my blood now. It's like I'm still the youngest man in history to headline Wembley Stadium. Just a phenomenal experience. Like when you come out and you've got 77,000 people, and you're just like, it's just one of the most incredible experiences. It's a small club, I think.
Yeah.
They get to play, so they've headlined Wembley Stadium.
There you go. You've got a Criminal Connection exclusive there. I did not know that you was the only man that's done that. That is
the youngest man.
It's got to be the in the Guinness Book of Records, no?
I believe so. Yeah, youngest person ever to headline. Yeah.
Wow. And then obviously as you went through, your album come out, and that was not just platinum; it was quadruple platinum.
Yeah, 7 times platinum.
7 times.
7 times platinum,
Wow.
and then
Where did I get the quadruple? When I read,
no, 7 times platinum.
I don't know. I always thought
Almost, I think 2 million albums just in the UK alone.
Wow.
But then 9 million globally.
Wow.
9 million.
Amazing. And then from there, I mean, when you was right up there, you've had your platinum, 7 platinum album, times 7. You've done all these tours. What actually happened at that point? Because because I know your brother ended up going into acting, but was it just literally you got to the top, and then you just wanted to go your separate ways, or
No, my brother said he's had enough. I think that we went into the charts at number 9,
right?
instead of like the top 3, and then the press was like, "Is this the end of Bros? Is this it?"
They're always
And
so
we're
supportive, aren't they?
We're like top 10, and then my brother, and we could just feel the tide was changing. And my brother, I knew he'd had enough, and I knew he wanted to kind of spread his wings and try the solo route. And he said, "I'm leaving the band," and I was like, "Well, I guess I'm out of a job then."
Wow.
And it was a, I don't even this day I don't think my brother realised that was a real knock for me.
Yeah.
I feel to this day I still think we should have just stayed, in the band and we could have gone and done different things. But I'm still, me and my brother said after the O2 recently, we said, the band will never break up.
Yeah.
But just trying to get us on stage, it always proves really difficult.
I mean, looking at it from a sort of fan perspective, I mean, even if you look at the all-time greats, Elvis Presley didn't always have number ones.
Nope.
Sinatra, he did some shit movies, he'd done some amazing movies. I think he won an Oscar, right? So
Yeah.
I think in life you do have to sometimes, you can't win all the time. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I agree with you, and that's part of the journey. It's like the contrast allows you to see exactly where you are. We don't know joy unless we have pain. We understand how beautiful joy is because of the contrast. But I feel, I just wish we'd all of us, Kray included, we'd all just hung in together. And because I still think Bros is a super group in many ways, but I think we'd have had the time of our life, including the hard times together.
Yeah. Well, when you look at that time, that there was you. Obviously, then after that, there was obviously Blue come along. There was.
I was in the States, so I don't know a lot of this stuff.
There was so many. One Direction. I mean, just I always think like now, if you had an 80s revival, you'd imagine it to be Bros, Madness, Bananarama. Do you know what I mean? There's sort of like a 10. Bands that you would put on that, and anybody that was there would go, "I want to go and see that." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd love to. And again, I feel like maybe I'm the one in the band that just is more up for it. Do you know what I mean? More up for like, let's create different experiences, And even with my career, I've tried to create different experiences for the fans, and just when I do turn up somewhere, it's going to be a good time. And even Vegas, Vegas was one of my most proud, pieces of my life, and I feel like me and my brother, I feel like we should be on stage all the time together.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that will happen, or do you think he's too busy with the acting to?
No, I feel he's digging in by what I feel is what he wants to experiment more with his own music. So I don't want to encroach on that. That's his business. But I would, without question, like to also be on stage together.
Yeah.
More.
And I suppose it's difficult if you've been with somebody who's your brother and you sell out arenas, concerts for this chart success. I know most people would say, "Well, let's just get another drummer." Do you know what I mean? But
You're getting me in trouble. I didn't say that, Luke.
No, but I'm just saying most people would go, "Do you know what? Get another drummer." But that's being pragmatic. But the reality is, unless you've actually gone through that and had that experience, it would be weird, right?
Well, Bros is our band. If technically my brother started Bros. It's his band first. So
maybe you could do Bro, just you on your own.
Yeah, bro. I feel like that's my life, mate. I feel it's my life.
And one thing that a lot of the viewers and listeners won't know is obviously your connection with the Krays.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I'll never forget, I was having sushi by myself and I got a phone call. And as a fella, you would get that phone call when you're like, the fuck is this? You know what I mean? He was like, hello, Matt. And I went, hello? He went, Reggie Kray. I was like, hey, Reggie, all right? Everything all right? It was one of those moments where you just felt like, is it
someone pranking you?
Yeah, but I felt like it was definitely a voice that I hadn't heard. You know what I mean? It was one of those moments. And anyway, he felt...
It's a good job he didn't say, fuck off, Terry.
Yeah, right. No, you got that high falsetto voice. But he was so lovely. He just felt an affinity with me. He's obviously, we're twins.
Yeah.
The public, journey that we were going on with the press at the time. He read my book. I just feel like we just got on really, really well. And he used to call me every morning and say, he'd always say the same thing. Hello, Matt, do you want to hear my words? And he'd read stories, he'd read poetry, he'd tell me about how much he wanted to be a clothing designer and get suits made when he got out. And we would literally speak every day. And he became somebody I really, really cared about. And I felt like he was sharpened in a lot of ways. In fact, he did his time and there are people who have done far worse. I'm not saying what he did wasn't wrong, but at the same time, people have done far worse and done less of a stretch. And I feel like when I met him, I went to visit him in prison, and he was just full of so much energy. He's full of creative energy. I was really surprised how much he wanted to design. He had definitive drawings. He had, I've got a load of his stuff. My mate Rob, we have a load of his stuff still, but just a really, really, I feel like he was a really lovely guy. Like I've got on incredibly well with him.
And when you actually went to see him, what was, did he sort of, because normally when people approach people and say, oh, it's me, I want to talk to you, I want to sort of become your new best friend.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't really say no.
I'm a proud London boy, and the Krays to me, I feel like, as to quote Reggie, they would always keep their violence within their jungle, and he was adamant about that. He was really tough about the first Krays movie. Although I loved it, I think they did a great job. He said my mum never swore, so he hated that part of that film.
Wow.
And then so.
Good job he was in jail, right?
he hated that part of the film, and he also said he always wanted me and Luke to play them.
Wow.
He was like, I really are the only two people I want us to play us. It was like he was really had strong opinions, and he goes, I feel like you guys would do it right. And I recently found out that we were offered a role, and I was told by the producer that my brother had turned it down.
Wow.
But that's still a dream role for me, to play Reggie and Ronnie, me and my brother. But
would you have to draw cards on who played Reggie and who played Ronnie, or was you going to be Reggie and he was going to be
he asked if he'd like me to play him, but I'd like to play Ronnie or Reggie. I think me and Luke would do it right.
Yeah,
I really do. And again, I love the Kemp brothers, and I also love Tom Hardy's version. Brilliant. But I know that we would really smash it.
Do you know something? That is a surprise really, because I would have, most performers, whether they're singers, whether they're dancers, they perform, right? So, they could quite easily turn their hand to acting. And I suppose really you could say with Reg, he was a visionary, because I could see you and your brother playing. I could see it. Do you know what I mean? So when you said that to me, I didn't think, well, how would that work? It's like you can see it.
People that know me and my brother, when we're not pushovers. I mean, we really are prideful about being able-bodied. Like we do, there's always someone topping you, but I'm definitely proud that I've, boxed for 20 years, and I do take pride in looking after my girl. And if I'm out, I do feel like, but I've also found myself in a really good place with the fellas out. I'm very well received, and I say how it is.
Do you have any fights when you was boxing?
Many fights, yeah. Ask Lloyd and ask Chris before this goes out.
Right, okay.
I'm serious.
No, but when I say fights, I mean in the ring, actual like amateur
Oh
fights.
yeah.
Right.
I've had a lot of fights. I guess. I mean, doing what I do, I've found myself in some horrible situations, and thankfully I've always prevailed. But now, last 10 years easily, I'm just, it's just hugs and conversation now. It's
You
thank God.
do realise if misfits are watching this, they're going to be on the phone, don't you?
No, listen.
Have you seen what they're doing?
No.
So Misfits do celebrity boxing, and Jake Paul, KSI.
I can't wait for that fight.
Rappers.
Who do you think is going to take the fight?
The Jake Paul and Tyson. I mean, there was some stuff circling on social media. I don't know if it was done as clickbait or whether it was real. They said that they'd sparred and Tyson had him, but I would say unless they're wearing 16-ounce gloves, I mean, Jake Paul is going to get hurt. I mean, you wouldn't, even at 58, you wouldn't want him in, would you?
No, I mean, I've met Tyson as well, and a couple of times, and he's rock solid.
Yeah,
rock solid. I'd like Tyson to win.
Yeah, me too. Did you see his one-man show he did?
Yeah.
I mean, that was something else. And his book,
incredible talent.
His book, I don't know if you've read his book, but it was heartbreaking because it was literally how he grew up in the hood. He had that Customato sort of father figure that he never had as a kid, guided him through it, made him a champion. Then he died, and he just went off the rails, and he had the wrong people around him. And I think at his peak he earned 400 million, and he ended up with nothing. So he had to then start again. And when you read his book, and he was taking drugs, he was womanizing, he was partying, and he was going to the ring and knocking people out. And you think, imagine if he hadn't have done that, he would have probably gone down as one of the greatest of all time. But
I still feel like it's come round for Tyson. I feel that people do appreciate his ability, and I feel like he's in a brilliant place. And he's much more philosophical. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but serious enough to know he still considers himself a badass, and which I love.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. That doesn't completely define him anymore. Whenever I've seen him doing interviews,
I love. There's two things I loved. I loved when he I don't know if you ever saw the TV interview. And this guy started basically calling him out, saying that when he had that thing with that woman, and he started sort of basically calling him a rapist and stuff on a couch on an interview, and he just switched on him, but like you just thought it was that so like intense. He was just going, "You're a fucking punk," right? And you just thought in a minute he's gonna just grab hold of you and just start filling you in.
Well, it's a bit like keyboard warriors. I mean, it's very easy to be that way when the cameras are on you, or somebody wants to give you shit online.
We love the keyboard warriors, don't we?
No, just see stalkers actually. I had a bit, and it's hard to say that some of them just got arrested.
Wow,
a couple of weeks ago.
Can you talk about that or not?
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about the details, but it's like it can be really, really stressful. It's really stressful, but I've got a case number now, and I've got a couple of people that I'm actually hopefully trying to get to the bottom of. But one was definitely, getting a bit too close for comfort where I live, and
just turning up outside your house.
Just everywhere that I was going, everywhere,
right.
And just ended up the police really handled that professionally, and they were arrested and cautioned and all that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other sort of, I suppose if you've got any profile, you get these nutters that either think that you are that character or that you love them or they're related to you in some way.
Yeah, this person thought I was getting married and we'll come over to get married. And like, I didn't, and it was just simply not going to happen. I'm in a lovely relationship and...
Right.
Hey, love, this is the girl I'm getting.
It must be weird though when the doorbell rings, you open the door and there's a woman standing there in a prize outfit. Hi Matt, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. If you don't go on, I'm going to call the police.
Get in the kitchen, make us dinner.
And then obviously when obviously you had that conversation, just stepping back into the Krays when you actually first met Reggie. What was he like?
He was excited and just full of life, and he had a bracelet on, and he had the gold and
right.
Mr. Kray, It was, and there were a lot of younger, I guess, younger criminals around him.
Right.
And introduced me to one guy, and we all sat down. All of us all sat down at a table. But he's told me some brilliant stories about if there was going to be a film, and he goes, "We were just funnier than we being portrayed." And he had a brilliant story that him and his brother, one of them, I think it was, Reggie was in jail, and Ronnie came to visit him, and they spoke on the phone before, and he turned up wearing exactly the same thing. They hugged each other, and as they hugged each other, they turned round. Ronnie sat where Reggie was, and Reggie sat where Ronnie was. And after visiting time was over, Reggie got up and left.
Right.
Says, "I'm going to have a cup of tea." And then they're like, "Come on in, Reg, you got to go back to your cell." He's like, I'm not going back to your cell, I'm going to have a cup of tea. He's like, no, you can't. He says, "Come on, Reg." He goes, "Well, first, I'm not Reg, I'm going to have a cup of tea." He got up, and so he went home and they had a cup of tea. Then Reg came back and finished his little tiny little stretch. But how brilliant is that like they just walk out?
But back then, obviously, as you see him in older life, Ron obviously put on a little bit of weight, probably because of the medication he was on. But when they were younger, they did look identical. So
they just turned around and Reggie left and he goes, "I want that stuff in our story as well."
Right.
They got a couple of those stories that were really funny.
Yeah. And when you got properly accepted in the firm, he gave you a gift, didn't he?
He did give me a gift.
Yeah.
He gave me this beautiful. It was very precious to him as well, because imagine being inside.
Yeah.
He gave me this bracelet and matching cufflinks. So it says the Krays, London.
Yeah.
And then matching cufflinks.
Wow.
It's very dear to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And apparently there was only 4 of them, right? There was Reg, Ron,
so
Charlie.
I was told, yeah.
You. Wow.
So he gave me his one. So I just felt like it's a real honour. Like he gave it for my 30th.
Wow.
And it's very precious to me.
Did you like his art? Because both him and Ronnie did do a lot of art, didn't they?
I liked, more than anything, I liked the fact that he was so full of creative ideas. And what broke my heart in a way, in the fact that he, if he'd been out 10 years earlier, I think he would have been a creative force. He was definitely, remorseful. I felt like he was remorseful about what happened, but he was also, but if you do know some of the details, the guy that he killed was really, really pushing all the buttons. I mean, as far as you can push him, I think, in many ways. But he was, I'm not, again, I don't condone that, but at the same time, I feel like if somebody does a crime, they do the time, remorseful. The guy never got out. He got let out on compassionate leave.
I think maybe it was because they were probably the first celebrity gangsters. They were always out. George Raft, Barbara Windsor was getting pictured. Lord Boothby. There was this sort of, you had sort of MPs, you had celebrities. That was in the paper, and obviously if you're in that world, that's probably the worst thing you can have, because
but 30 years. I think.
Most people would have done 10 or 15.
Yeah.
But I think for them, I hate to use the word political prisoners, but I definitely think because they did kill some. Obviously, if you hear about someone getting killed now, it's not that big a deal because it happens a lot. But back then, somebody walking into a pub and shooting someone dead in front of, or stabbing someone to death and rolling them up in the carpet.
That was Ronnie, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that sort of behaviour, and obviously because they were the twins, everyone used to say it's the Krays. So even if Reggie hadn't done anything wrong, he was going to get in trouble, wasn't he?
But I feel like he was just, outside the moral side of things. I feel like as a person, it definitely developed and had grown. And my experience of meeting him and speaking to him, I feel like he'd grown into a decent human and very, very, very loving person. Yeah. And just somebody, wanted to contribute,
Did you also meet Ron? Did you go and see Ron in Broadmoor?
No, I didn't.
Right, okay.
No, so that breaks my heart in the fact they didn't see each other. Weren't able to see each other before Ronnie passed.
Yeah.
but that must have been torture for Reggie.
Yeah. I mean, that was the other thing, wasn't it? I mean, one of them was obviously put in a mental hospital, and the other one was sort of kept. They were kept apart. I mean, if they probably weren't, even if Ronnie wasn't mad, they'd have probably ended up still being kept apart because obviously bringing them back together would have probably caused.
Yeah, but also having a twin, like I my brother's in America, and I miss him terribly.
Yeah.
It actually weighs heavy on me every day that I'm not around him. So but so I can imagine how painful that must have been for the two of them.
How do you communicate with your brother? Do you sort of ring him, FaceTime him, or do you just occasionally?
Me and my brother.
Yeah.
We play video games.
Right. Okay.
That's I guess our.
Are you the cool? I bet you're the Call of Duty go, aren't you? I bet you.
No, it's Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six Siege. Call of Duties are full of squeakers.
Right.
Like young kids talking about keyboard warrior. Fucking hell. Fuck you, man. Fuck you, you asshole. Like, God, I wish you were here right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's, well, Siege is a little bit more like people will mute their mics and they're just
playing the game.
Five-a-side.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son plays that. I used to
me
love
and my
playing.
Me and my girl started playing It Takes Two.
Oh, really?
Get the missus in.
What is that game? I don't know what that is.
It's just, you can only play it with the two of you.
Right, okay.
So it's just, you can only get through the challenges if you're holding like this lever down. She's got to go and pull that one and it opens up another one. It's a brilliant, for the fellas that want to get their girls involved, It Takes Two.
And that's on, what's that, PlayStation or Xbox?
Yeah. Yeah, PlayStation is a video console, Terry.
I've got
and
one.
You don't
I've got
put
PlayStation 5.
discs anymore, Terry. You know what I mean?
No discs.
Or cartridges. You don't do that.
Really? I used to have I bet you had one of them.
Atari, of course I did. Everyone did.
They were the bollocks, weren't they?
Completely. And the dude.
I think that was the first time video games come out. It always made me laugh because it was that Binatone thing, wasn't it? And it was probably the shittest computer game ever.
I used to love Missile. Do you remember Missile Command?
That was
the ball you'd roll.
Missile Command, Space Invaders, Asteroids. Those
Galactic.
Battlestar Galactic.
Yeah.
That was good. There was
so
so many
brilliant, wasn't it? Like they're
Pac-Man.
going down and having just arcade, playing on the arcade games.
You can actually get them now. I don't know if you've seen them. It's like a joystick.
Yeah,
It's got 100. So you got Pac-Man. You got all the games on this little thing. You just plug it in the telly. So
No,
you've moved on then. You're playing Rainbow
Siege
Six.
6.
You've obviously gone. Your brother's obviously gone to America. He's obviously got into the movies. What was the catalyst for you? Literally thinking, you know what, I'm going to go to the States. Did you get an invitation, or did you just end up there?
No, I just felt like once I knew that my brother was serious, and it wasn't like a moment where, because I remember it was devastating. Like, I was like, it's our band, and
it's probably like your wife for 30 years just getting up and saying, I'm going now. And you're going, what are you going?
Well, it's just something like losing your job. That's what it's like. It's that, and also knowing that that's the only version of that job that you could that you got to walk away from, and it's so I thought I'm just going to go because I didn't want to deal with. I just wanted to see if I could still manage to make something happen outside of that, bubble of the UK and Europe, and went to the States, and it was tough at first, really, really hard at first.
Yeah.
But I persevered. And I made a record, and it just started to slowly make sense in the States. Played Carnegie Hall in New York, wrote for Kerry Hilson, wrote for songs like for the TV show So You Think You Can Dance, Stuart Little, the movie. Started really getting like some really big projects, and then I wrote a song called Evil, and the director of entertainment at the Palms Casino with the then family-owned business, the Maloof brothers.
Yeah.
Said we want you at the casino. So they said, can you fly in, send the jet, go into Vegas, have a meeting with all the brothers.
I love it.
The Maloof brothers, and the director of entertainment, Michael at the time, said, if this doesn't come off, I'm going to give you my Audemars Piguet watch. And I said, I will fucking take that watch. You know what I mean? And I so went back to LA. A couple of days passed, didn't hear anything. Anyway, about a week later, get a call. He says, I've got good news and I've got bad news. I said, what's the bad news? He went, "You're not getting my watch. Welcome to Las Vegas." And that was, went and, started a show at the Palms, and had some of the best times of my life at the Palms. It was brilliant
Great
casino. And within 9 months, though, I was at Caesar's Palace, and then the opening line from Gary Slessner, the president of Caesar's Palace, was, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to announce that we've stolen Matt Goss from the Palms." And had my showgirls there. It was big kind of press launch on the Strip, and then rest is history. I mean, incredible run.
Yeah.
And learnt more. One of your guests actually is going to be here today, Ricky Hatton.
Yeah.
He came in and sang. He had a few bevies, but everyone you can imagine, like Jason Statham, Jerry Lewis. Incredible people. They've been to my Sharon Stone. Loads of people been.
Was she flashing at you when was she giving it away?
No, I actually wrote with Sharon. She's come to my house and we've written.
Right.
We wrote a beautiful song called Rain, and hopefully it'll see the light of day one day. But she's a really talented songwriter.
What was she like? Because everyone that's watching this or listening to this will all be fans of Casino, right? And that for me was, I love seeing Sharon Stone in that movie.
I think Sharon is what I think is amazing about her. She's quite self-deprecating in the fact that she's very honest about her journey in the industry. I think she was snubbed and she's gone on a completely different journey. She's an activist, but she's very, very creative, and she's adores music.
Right.
So obviously when she first turns up, you're like Sharon Stone, in your house, but she's sitting on the floor together writing lyrics and just.
Did you say you knew her younger brother in London?
No, I mean, listen, she's a beautiful woman, but she's a serious individual though. Like you don't mess with Sharon. She's a serious individual.
Has she got a bit of ginger about her or not? That's the role she played in Casino, Ginger. Is she a bit gingery or not? Or is she?
I think she's a serious individual, right. And I have nothing but respect for her.
Yeah.
I think that she can definitely have a laugh, and
right.
In the studio we had really a lot of fun. But she's, I think she's conscious of, again, that word contributing. Contributing. She's really, and she takes it seriously. So like I've met her with the Dalai Lama. She's, and she's.
I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? The Dalai Lama's sitting here, Sharon Stone's sitting here.
Yeah, but she's really good mates with him. She's really good friends with him. So I have a lot of respect.
What was he like?
Beautiful, just super kind. Yeah, lovely, really funny. Somebody asked what has he got in his pouch?
Right.
And he brought out some sweet, like some chewy sweets, like fruit salads.
Werther's Originals.
Yeah, but he did. He had like, it wasn't like magic dust or anything. It was just like a couple of sweets.
Everyone's like, oh, what's the Dalai Lama got in his pouch?
He's got his beads.
Werther's Originals.
Yeah. It was something like that.
Wow. Who would you say? I mean, obviously, when you was in Vegas, and that's one of my biggest regrets, because one of their dear friends, Bubbles.
Bubbles, yeah.
He always used to say to me when I used to go into Vegas, he always used to say, come down to Caesars. You got to see this fucking English guy. He's just like Sinatra. and I'd always be like, I went to fucking school with him. But the problem is, every time I went to Vegas, because I was going for the boxing, I was with like 20.
I think it's such a bullshit excuse.
No, is it? I know it's
bullshit. My mate went to school with my mate Matt, and I'll never come to see you in Vegas. But I was in Vegas. In fact, I was next door with Bubbles, our mutual friend, but I never got around to fucking seeing you. I'm gutted. Not a good excuse.
Do you know what
Terry.
it was? No, and that's a shit excuse. But when you're with 20 lunatics in Vegas,
bring the 20 lunatics.
No, but and you say to them, do you want to come and see my mate singing, Sinatra songs? They just want to get pissed and fuck about. So I was sort of just dragged along with them. And what I should have done is gone,
you should have, could have.
I'm going to go and see my mate for 2 hours. I'll catch you later.
Everyone watching this would have been like, yeah, it's a fair play, Terry. You should have come to see me.
Will you ever be able to forgive me, Matthew?
No, mate. We have to make a movie together or something. But
that's actually a good idea.
It is. No, but I feel like De Niro was an amazing person to meet. I remember opening my showroom, and Gary, who I absolutely adore, Gary Celestino, the president of Caesars, said, "Do you want a beer?" We met at Beijing Noodle number 9, and we shook hands. I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Well, I hope you got a good imagination." Took me to this room, and they used to call it the Black Hole, but it was right next to all the crap tables, the roulette tables, right in the middle in the Caesars. Beautiful location, and next to it was like a gift shop. Right. But my showroom, it was a very famous room, and I said, "Yep, let's do it." we got Johnny Walker came on board, gave us some money. We used some of that to do it all up, and within 2 years of my show smashing it, I was shaking hands with Mr. Robert De Niro next to me because he opened Nobu next door. But I was told, Gary said, you changed, you definitely helped change Caesars. Like, I'm really proud of it. And he'd tell you that, like, my room created a certain energy.
You say, thanks a lot, mate, but can I have some fucking shares?
Yeah, they got enough. But no, but it was a real honour. Like, I mean, to meet, he opened Noble next door, and I met him, and I met some incredible people. Because of what I do.
Robert De Niro is obviously one of the all-time greats, isn't he? In the movie business, and a lot of people that have met him and a friend of him that I've spoken to have all said he's very serious.
Yeah, I feel like more than serious, he's very calm. He's very at ease in his own space. If that makes sense. He's just very kind of centered. And you ask De Niro, and why wouldn't he be? He's Robert De Niro, but that's always what I got. I've only met him a couple of times, and he was just very calm and very, very.
So you got him to do a little voice thing on your phone. So
you're talking to me? Yeah.
No. He could be. You should have got him to do one of his quotes.
I know. Right.
Through the mate's phone.
But also, entrepreneur, Nobu. Yeah. I mean, what an incredible legacy that is.
I mean, a friend of mine who was big in California. First time I went, he took me to I think it's called Matt Sushi. I think it's in Beverly Hills, and it looked like a library.
Yep.
And I walked in, and it was just like these tables and sushi, and I was like, "This is really good." And the guy goes, "This is Nobu's first restaurant," and he said, "This is where the guy met De Niro." And apparently, De Niro went in there, and obviously in the I think it was the mid-70s, sushi was a thing in New York and California.
Yeah.
And so they used to go. This was the only sushi gaff. So he went in and was eating sushi with this guy, and he goes, "This is fucking great, you should open a chain of these, So to have, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, going into business for you. And if you look at Nobu now, I mean, what a great restaurant brand, hotels. I mean,
flawless franchise.
Because Caesar's Palace has got a Nobu hotel
Towers
within, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's Nobu Towers. So it's like, it's a hotel within a hotel, but it's really it's at one of their Caesar's Towers, and they've named that tower Nobu Towers. So that was literally next door to my showroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you got any funny stories about any of the? Did any celebrities come down and get out of hand? Were they?
I mean, Ricky was pretty hilarious. I mean, I think Nick Cage. When I introduced him, and obviously let people get see how comfortable they are and all that. Right. But he was right at the front of the stage, to the right hand side, and I went, once I felt like he was actually comfortable, and I said, ladies and gents, it's lovely to have Nick Cage in the room. And he stood up, and I kid you not, he was like this to everybody, like Elvis. And he did it to the whole audience, and then sat back down, went to his private mode again. But it was exactly how he'd want Nick Cage to do it.
Because he sings as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was just. I think he was loving the show. But
asked to do a little duet with you.
No, but you know how he completely changed his shape in his movies, and then he goes back to being. That's exactly what he did when I introduced him. Wow. I think Jerry Lewis was an incredible one for me, because obviously being part of the Rat Pack kind of that era, and being mates with Dean and Frank, that was an incredible. So he came to my show a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been cool for you, the guy from who went to school on the Old Dean, that's been in this amazing pop band, to pop up in Vegas, and now you're like the modern day Sinatra in Vegas. I mean, that must have been like, you must have woken up a few days thinking, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Well, it's I feel like when you visualize things, I feel like when I was at the Palms, I used to crack my curtains in my suite about this much, and I could only see, the only hotel I could see through that crack was Caesars, and I'm like, one day I'm going to play that. I'm going to play the mothership.
Welcome back to season 3 of the Criminal Connection podcast. I want to say a massive thank you to all our season 3 sponsors. We love you. Big thanks to our sponsor, IME. This global tech outfit ain't messing about. They've got these slick video interviews that have you connecting like there's no tomorrow. Whether you're running a business, running the streets, or doing your own thing. Perfect for those in marketing, recruitment, admissions, and even for auditions. And their platform, smooth as silk, designed with you lot in mind. IME's the ticket to making those connections count. A big thanks to Wildcrest Events for sponsoring the show. From adrenaline pumping sporting events to chart topping sensations, Wildcrest Events have them all. Make sure you drop them a line down below. And if you put in CCP5 off, you will get a 5% discount. Now that's a proper good deal. I want to say a massive shout out to our sponsors, VIP Security Services. VIP Security Services have been running for 35 years. They offer security solutions for our Essex, London, and all the home counties. VIP Security Services will protect you, your home, and your business. Prevention is always better than cure, and you're in safe hands with VIP Security Services. So if you'd like to find out about any of our fabulous sponsors, make sure you check out the links in the description below.
I mean,
And then within 9 months, I was there. So I think if you just, you've got to be single-minded sometimes.
I mean, that's interesting you said that, Matt, because a lot of people in life talk about A plans, B plans, C plans, and from your perspective, as a lesson really that you've learned and that you could share, would you say that everything you've done in your life, you've focused on it 1,000,000% and just gone, I'm doing that. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it. Or have you actually planned it out meticulously?
I feel, it's a good question. I feel like I'm a finishing line guy. And I feel like if I'm going to run the 100 meters, if I want to break a record, I've got to put my head down and run for the finishing line.
Right.
Obviously, in life and anything you do, there are hurdles.
Yeah.
If you have a good team of people around you, they will fucking rapidly get rid of those hurdles so you can do what you do best.
Yeah.
In America, I felt that I had that kind of energy and that kind of team. I am struggling a little bit in the UK in the fact that I think you can take 6 lunches here and talk about the hurdles. Hurdles are a prerequisite to any business venture, any creative endeavor. That's a prerequisite. It's whether you give a fuck about them or not. And I think that's the one thing, the start, stop, sometimes I'm experiencing here is hard for me to get my head around, because I think my job is to get across the finishing line because I have a skill set. The business side, sometimes I think that, try and surround yourself with big thinkers. I believe, and I don't know if you agree with this, if you have lunch with a big thinker and 2 big thinkers are going, let's fuck this.
It's happening.
Come what may, it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
If you're going to have 5 lunches about what could be the issues, and it's a dead
shoulda, woulda.
Exactly. A bit like you in Vegas, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just can't let it go.
But do you know what I mean? I feel like certainly as a man at my age now, I feel like I just want to be around people that go, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
And not, and it's just, and just go. I think momentum is so important for success.
Yeah.
And also, if you do have a vision, to your point earlier, just be single-minded and just go and see it through fruition.
Yeah.
See it through.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that, because lots of people that are watching this may already have businesses, may already have careers, or they may be starting on a career or wanting to change their career. And that is the beautiful thing, I think, about life. I mean, I sort of run clubs, as you know, back in the sort of 90s, and then I got into movies, and then and if you'd have said to me along the journey, what made you do this, what made you do that, is because the opportunities have popped up. And I'm sure, like when you went to America, you probably never thought you'd be headlining at Caesars Palace in Vegas, but you ended up there because you was open to doing something great.
Yeah, I feel like we've spoken recently about a few projects and we've got involved in a few things.
Yeah.
I hate suck it and see, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. I hate all those fucking all that terminology. Just be assertive, and if you want to, again, that word if you want to contribute and you want to change something, whatever that is for you. I feel anyone that's watching this, don't ever let anyone convince you otherwise. Because I feel like if you've got a dream, you've got you're never going to say on your deathbed, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't do that. I'm so glad I didn't pursue my dreams." You're never going to say it, are you? Unless you're really fucking a little bit strange. Yeah. But no, I feel like you've got to.
The only people, and I stand on this, that would say that are the keyboard warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
And the trolls. That's the only thing that they would be saying on their deathbed. But genuinely, I honestly think in life, you have to have a go. And I think look, from our school, right, it wasn't on a great estate. It was working classes. And if you look at you, me, Chris Herbert, there was a few of us, right, who've all come out of there and actually done all right.
Yeah.
Some have done like better than others. But, my message has always been really simple. Doesn't matter where you live, whether you live in a council flat, or you live in a big house, whether you go to a shit school, whether you get all your qualifications, whether you don't. But, I was an academic, but I'm probably smarter now than most academics, because what I've done is, as I've gone through life, I've learned and I've worked things out, and I've learned about things that were important to get me from there to there. And I think that, our journey, your journey as a singer and as an artist, and my journey is doing clubs and doing different things, gives the working classes hope, because they look at it and go, oh, maybe I could do that. And the thing is, at school, you're told you can't. You're told, go to university, get a normal job.
Well, I'll say, and I agree with what you're saying. I also feel like being in the States, I think it's important to, wherever you travel, to take the best parts of what you can to also add to your tool belt, so you're well equipped. And I feel like success in America is such a good word. I don't think it's a word we should be afraid of, or embarrassed about. And sometimes certain cultures can make you feel that way. I feel it's okay to dream as big as you can. I have a saying perception is reality. Your imagination is limitless. So why wouldn't we make our reality the same as our imagination? Why, if we think, I can do this, I can do that. Obviously, we all know that it's hard work. But if you're not afraid of hard work, I think you can prevail at most things.
But I think the teachers, well, they were when I was younger, and I'm not sure if you had the same experience, but they all, because they've become teachers, they feel that, there's like a playbook and you have to follow the playbook. But obviously, as you know, in life, you don't follow the playbook. You bend whatever you need to bend to get to where you need to be, because as you're going through life, there isn't a straight path. You might have to go left, you might have to go right, you might have to go round and round about a few times, but as long as you end up where you want to be.
I feel like, though, with teachers, I have so much respect for teachers, because I feel like, they do shape us. And again, to your point, but a great teacher is gold to me. Like Jane
Absolutely.
Roberts at Collingwood, my drama teacher, she is the reason. She's certainly one of the reasons that I was able to do what I'm doing, because she, I didn't like maths. I hate maths. I like biology. Mr. Brooks was brilliant, and Mrs. Funnell, wearing her fishnets, and
Well, you're taking me back now.
Closing the windows. Miss Simkovich, with her short mini skirt playing accordion. Right. Brilliant memories. But Jane Roberts was the reason I believed in myself. When I didn't believe in myself at school, really, I felt quite, like a lot. To your point, a lot of those ingredients when you're coming from when you don't have much.
I think teachers now.
But teachers now can't discipline.
They're slightly different, because what I experienced, and again, what my experience of teachers was my experience of teachers. It wasn't painting them all with the same brush. It's just that the teachers that I had at Collingwood, they didn't really motivate me, and they didn't really encourage me to follow my dreams
or believe in you, maybe.
Exactly, and that is one of the things that I struggle with, because recently I've got a daughter, and I've got two sons. And at one of the schools, when they were doing their sort of races, one of the teachers said, "It's not about winning, it's about taking part." And I went up to him, it was my middle son, I went up to him and said, "Mate," I said, "win." I said, "Coming last, you get nothing in life for coming last or second, so try and win. If you don't win, it don't matter, but don't listen to that, because it's bullshit." And that's the struggle I have with some of the teaching now.
But I feel like there's the teachers are under a lot of. I mean, back then we could get disciplined. You get a ball rubber, thrown at your head, and you'd be,
Or
don't do it again. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like I'm not saying that's always the answer, but like, kids shouldn't disrespect teachers.
You don't think violence against children is the answer?
Well, to be honest,
especially unruly children like us.
Didn't do me any harm, but
or me.
But I feel like I feel for the teachers in a way. I mean, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. They're not allowed to discipline. They're not allowed to. It's so kid gloves now. No pun intended. But it's really, really everyone's got to watch what they say, watch what they do. I mean, it's a minefield for everybody. I mean, teachers, it must be an absolute minefield every day, what they can and can't say, what they can't do.
So I've got a question for you, right?
Okay.
So we go back in time.
Uh-huh.
We're in Collingwood now, but we're in the current climate, yeah?
Yeah.
And you could identify as anything you wanted to identify.
Are you having a laugh?
Would you identify as a cat?
Fuck
I'm
off.
just interested.
You're such an arsehole. I mean, listen.
Because I would.
Listen.
Matty, I would have identified as a cat.
Yeah,
I'd
if
have
it
driven everyone mad.
meant you getting like one of the little girlfriends.
I'd have been dressed up with the ears and everything. I'd have had my little cat lit up. I would have done that just to be a fucking nuisance.
Listen, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. I don't, each their own, but for me personally.
Right. You'd identify as Matt.
MG all the way. Yeah, I'm not. I know I am. But the thing is, when you have an impressionable mind, and you think it might have some bearing on getting some more friends, or that girl over there is going to be, or that guy over there is going to be, find you more attractive, or who knows what our brains would have thought. Yeah. But given the option, but like I was, it was not that side of things was not an option. Therefore, it was less confusing. Now, I was very sure of who I was. Yeah, my identity. Even me now explained how I feel. I'm conscious of not saying anything that is too offensive, but I say I've been saying recently that if you silence the minority, that is criminal to me. That is wrong. But if you silence the majority, that is also wrong. Yeah. So what's happening is the majority of people that go, well, I don't agree with that, are being made to feel like they're bigoted, and it's actually really wrong. That's bullying. So I feel like this whole woke thing is getting really out of control to the point where the majority, which is okay, that's not a bad word. Right. And the word majority has become almost demonized. We're allowed to feel a certain way. Yeah. And I feel that parents today must be having such a hard time with, seeing their son or their daughter being given all these confusing information. So for me, and I don't think it's me being, because I'm older or I'm a certain generation, I don't think it's that. I think it's okay to see things a little clearer.
Yeah, I unconfuse my children regularly.
What's that?
I unconfuse my children regularly.
How?
I just tell them how it is, because genuinely, I've got no problem with anybody saying or being whatever they want. But I do think there has to be a little bit of common sense. And, a lot of people now are getting offended by things that they shouldn't really.
Well, the board get offended.
Nobody should get offended.
Be cautious of the board, because they're way too interested in all that's yours. The board create the rules. Right. The people that want to live their life, they're not leaving 50 reviews. They're not, lowering the speed limits. They're not putting more cameras up. They're getting on with their life.
Absolutely.
It's the board.
I mean, I know you was above me in school, but in that period of time in the 70s, there was no room.
It was the 80s. Solid was the 80s.
But what I mean was, we went to school in the 70s. Like, we started school at 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah.
But what I mean is, when I was at Collingwood in the 80s as well. But through that period of time when we was at school, it was a completely different environment. There was no. Everybody would get it, wouldn't they? Yeah. Everyone would be bantered. It wouldn't matter if you was rich, poor, skinny, fat,
no, it wouldn't matter at all.
Everyone got it. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone was. Everyone would hang out with everyone. There were different pockets, obviously, but it wasn't defined by one external image or one viewpoint you were allowed in that clique. It was absolutely much more inclusive and fun, and I feel like we're colourful individuals because of that.
Absolutely.
You know, I have much more flavour because of that upbringing,
Yeah.
rather than being linear.
Somebody said to me the other day, and I thought this was actually quite interesting. They said it's gone too far now.
It has gone too far,
and it's going to come back. But when I look at the way the world is, I can't see that. I can just see it getting worse because certain places in the world have not bought into it, and they've just gone, we're not going down that road. And then it just seems to be a kind of England, Europe, and parts
I think
of America.
even like changing the flag, like we're the only country living in America who's so prideful of their flag. Yes, it's a flag, and you know, again, how serious can you take that? Well, very seriously. Like, you know, the St. George's Cross is my flag. I'm an Englishman, and that's never going to change. Nobody's ever going to change my mind on that because of, you know, social pressure or, you know, if you look at my flag as in a racist way, then that's on you.
Yeah.
That's on you. I don't. I'm prideful. That represents my granddad, represents my mum, my dad, who's, you know, my granddad served in the army. My dad served as a policeman, a detective his whole life. You know, I just cannot bear bored people that leave things alone. Leave it. It is what it is. There's certain things you can maybe, like, you know, you want to, you know, paint your house, or, you know, building better homes for people, and there's, you know, improving the healthcare in this country, which I'm so proud of as well. Living in America, my dad's and my stepdad's operation would have cost £500,000 in America. Here it's free.
Yeah.
You know, so don't moan. Nothing will be perfect on a health service run by the government and thing. But it's, you know, I still believe that doctors and nurses and healthcare workers are angels to me. That they go out.
I mean, the public, you know, whether they're firemen, police, or NHS, you know, they do. I mean, I always make sure if I ever go in hospital, or if I have anybody who needs any treatment, I'm always very grateful, and I always say thank you. And I do think that's probably the NHS is probably one of the things. You know, I understand giving it to everyone for free is an amazing thing, but I think people around the world misuse it. I mean, there's people that will actually fly in, knowing that if they have a baby here, they can get free treatment on the NHS. Or if they're ill and they're here,
but
they can get
at the same
treatment.
time. At the same time, when you're in the States, and you know, like my mother passed away; she died of cancer, and the journey. When I'm talking 60 seconds, because I live by Cedar Sinai in LA, 60-second journey in an ambulance, morphine, and a room for a night. You're looking at about 9,000-10,000 quid for one day. That was one day. So, and then it obviously more and more per day. So you do the math. But my friend just came over. She's doing a West End show. Came over here, cut her finger, went to the hospital, a couple of stitches, bandaged it up, left. To me, I'm prideful as a Englishman.
Yeah.
And I'm also a very, very proud Brit, that somebody can come here and be a guest in our home and be taken care of, and then leave. They weren't here to take advantage of it. My God, if that was in America, that's 15, 20 grand for you.
But I think I agree with that. But my point is, I don't agree with people misusing the NHS. And I think that's I don't know how you stop that. But I think if you were genuinely here and you hurt yourself, fair enough.
But I think the way to get through it is just enjoy the country and enjoy the upswing. Enjoy the upswing. The upswing is what I just said. A friend of mine, somebody comes in, you can't stop it, and I don't get bent out of shape like that. But we have a national health service, which is something to be incredibly proud of. Obviously, again, nothing's perfect, but incredible for me. I just enjoy the upswing. Living in the States for 25 years, and seeing people that could not afford to be sick, or get their arm, break their arm, and they're like stressing about, because in America it's a business.
It's the same in Spain. I mean, it's literally
it's a business.
Pay as you go, isn't it?
They will not put you in an ambulance if you don't have insurance.
Wow.
Again,
So big up the NHS.
I'm uber prideful of this country. I'm a royalist. I'm proud. I'm a proud Englishman. I'm a proud Brit.
Yeah.
And when I say proud Brit, proud Englishman, You know, when I go to Scotland, I ended my last UK tour in Edinburgh at the time of my life.
Wow.
Love playing Scotland. Scots love me. Came to Vegas all the time.
Yeah.
Get treated really, really well. But I also prideful. I love how prideful they are about as a nation.
Yeah.
And their flag. And
Did you sample the delights up there? Did you get fried Mars bar?
I thought when you said sample the delights, that's something different to me, mate. Luckily, my girl is Scottish. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, when I went up there, it was actually quite funny because I'd never tried haggis. So I tried the haggis, I tried some nice whiskies, and I actually thought the fried Mars bar thing was a joke, but it's not. It does exist. So I tried that.
Listen,
as well.
anything fried is this place is pretty delicious.
And obviously there's a new business venture that we're both part of.
Yep.
The Dr. Green
Yeah.
NFT, which for all of those that don't know what it is, it's going to revolutionise this, and you're actually going to be doing your own strain. So have you actually got a name for it yet, or you?
I do, but I haven't announced it yet. Right. But I also going to be getting involved in CBD and THC creams and stuff. Amazing. Like my stepfather's chronic arthritis, Tony, he has and when he uses the THC creams and stuff, it really, really helps him. Yeah. There's a friend of mine called Ricky Lake who did an incredible movie called Weed the People.
Yeah.
And that's about the effects on tumours and cancerous growths that THC can help shrink and help treat. So I'm just really, really intrigued. I don't smoke myself, but I do believe in and also for mental health and for, for panic attacks and mental health issues for depression and stuff. I do think it can actually help, and I think we've got to be more broad in our thinking.
I honestly don't.
It's holistic to me. It's holistic. So
I don't know why they've kind of only embraced it recently. I think it was 2018 when they actually.
It's propaganda, isn't it? So it's like it's all designed to.
Yeah.
Once there's a way to put a tax on it, it will be made legal.
Well, I think that's why they give Dr. Green a 3-year license, because they want to make sure that. I mean, the good thing about it, because it's all done on the blockchain, everyone that buys it and everybody that receives it, they can actually see who's buying it, where it's going, so they can obviously tax people.
I think but honestly though, I think if it's regulated well and it's treated with respect, and I think it'll be a good thing. But again, as long as it's treated, it's handled correctly.
I think it's a template for legalising drugs worldwide. I genuinely do, because I think people that want to take drugs, it was like Prohibition, right? When Prohibition was around, if people wanted to drink, they'd find somewhere to buy it, right? So
they came up with the word marijuana during Prohibition.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah, to create like a scary word like piranha, marijuana, and they created that word, marijuana, the government did. And actually it ended up, obviously started to become more popular with Prohibition, because that was the recreation of choice. Yeah. And anyway, and the rest is history. But I feel like a lot of it is based on fear mongering and stuff. Like I don't personally I don't even smoke a cigarette in my life. I like being very present. But seeing my mum go through so much pain and seeing the way she would take THC and it would absolutely ease her pain. And
wow. I mean, and that's something to look out for. So
it's an exciting project that
it's an exciting project
involved with.
Yeah, and one of many. And the Dr. Green NFT, Matt will obviously on his social media and on his own platform be announcing that, and you'll be able to. The unveiling of the name will be interesting. I mean, there's so many great people.
I think I might have come up with your name, which I'll have a little royalty for.
Yep. Yeah. We both announce it at the same time.
Yeah, we will, yeah.
But no, that's amazing, Matt. I mean, that's exciting. And then a lot of people won't know, but what was the catalyst for you to actually come back from America?
It was weird. When I hit the 10-year mark in Vegas, it's that really prideful moment. 10 years, a decade as a headliner and breaking a lot of records. But on the 11th year, it was just started to get, I felt like I need something else in my life. So, I obviously met my beautiful girl, Chantal,
Was she actually in Vegas?
No,
Right.
she was. We met online actually,
Right.
and then during COVID we spoke for about 7 months,
Yeah.
and we just got on so well, and I knew I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
I knew that I missed my country, although that I feel very connected to the States and miss my show there. I just felt like I wanted to come home and see what was here, because I always come in and do my shows and then leave. I am struggling being here in the fact that I just don't feel like I'm part of the clique. I feel like, if I'm still on the fence about how I feel about being here.
Right. It's definitely changed massively, and I'm
Yeah.
sure going to America and then coming back here after that period of time, you must have been like, "What the fuck's going
Well,
on?"
I just feel like I want to work. I mean, I'm not. I wanted to do all the festivals this year. I wanted to be included. I'm a good musician. I'm a good singer. I'm a good songwriter, and I pride myself what I've achieved. It frustrates me. A lot of my big achievements of the last 20 years has been in the States. So to come back here, all I would say to the industry, if any of the industry is watching it, to producers, festivals, everything, I want to be included. I want, and maybe they don't know if I want to be on these, I want to get out and perform, but I want to, 2025, I want to be on more stages than ever in my life. I want to do Jules Holland. I want people to see why I was received so well in the States, and also prevailed here. So I just want to, I want to be included, and also find my right team as well. I've got to find my team.
And when you was in Vegas, obviously we talked about the celebrities, but you must have met a few mob guys as well along the way.
I have met a lot of. I mean, I feel like in some ways, I've always been really well received by that community in some ways, because I don't know why, but it's and I've always had they're just the sweethearts to me, like Gentle Giants, Bubbles included.
It was so funny, wasn't it?
Just some of the people we knew, and just obviously being in Vegas for 10 years, some interesting characters, but also in London as well. Like a friend of mine did 10 years for armed robbery, and he just and he gave me a watch actually, and I immediately gave him something back. I was like, I want to be, But I remember a moment that was kind of like life changing in a way, where I realised that how sensitive bad boys can be as well, and he said, I need to ask a favour, and it's not a sentence you really want out of certain people. and I said, yeah, what is it? And he says, can you get me, and I was like, God knows what was coming in my way. And he said, can you can you get me into heaven? That's what he said to me. And I went, and that had been playing on his mind because he'd done some bad stuff. And I said, the fact that you say that is...
I thought you'd go, hang on a minute.
Do you know what I mean? But that kind of naive kind of, but that worry,
Right.
and you get a sense of worry, but quite a prominent person, and just, but I felt like it was a really sweet kind of perspective that it was worrying, and that's why when I would speak to Reggie, he would only talk about keeping his rules within his own jungle. He said he was adamant that he would never go into the public sector, and just, which there's always going to be that element in life, right?
Well, I think if you're in that world and you're operating that world, then you've got you've got to be up for what comes with it, and that's the violence, the crime, the going to jail, losing everything. What I've enjoyed about doing the Criminal Connection podcast is talking to different people that have either been affected by crime or have, like yourself, lots of people would have never imagined that you and Reggie Kray were friends, that you'd have been sitting down, you'd be in Vegas, you'd be meeting all these guys. And it's just, for me, it's like, I don't know, I think celebrity, whether you're a singer, whether you're an actor, whether you're, musician, there's always been that link where I think that the criminals would all like to be famous, but obviously because of what they're doing, they can't.
But I also feel they like discretion as well. I feel discretion is a really, for me, not just in our mutual criminal friends. I feel like there's a discretion that can be applied in all elements of life, and I feel like there's a certain honour that I feel appeals to all of us. I feel like there is a certain honour that comes along with loyalty. And my toast, when I do a toast, would you ever go, says, repeat after me. Have my back.
Have my back.
Behind my back.
Behind my back.
That's my toast.
That's my toast.
And for me, that's all I would ask.
Right.
That's all I ask from people. Just be loyal. Just don't, when I get up, speak well of me. If you get up, I'll speak well of you. That's a real gift to me.
It's not actually that difficult, is it, really?
It's freedom. I think loyalty is freedom. I feel like just speak well of people. Don't hate on people. Big people up. Because when you're out and somebody says, oh, I was at a Terry the other day speaking really well of you, that's money in the bank. That's a boost.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I feel like...
But you should... I honestly... anything I'd say negative about anybody, I'd say it to their face.
Yeah.
And I'd only ever say it if it was true.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think that there's people that would just talk shit for the sake of it.
I agree.
Or say, I met him the other day.
Miserable life, though. Miserable lives.
Miserable life, yeah.
And
nothing good. What people don't understand, and this goes out to all the listeners and all the viewers on this podcast, is if you walk around wishing bad shit on people
it comes
and
back.
being negative, you just get it back yourself. Nothing good happens in your life. So
I'm a mirror, mate. If you can look at the sun, squint your eyes, you can see it. But you can't if somebody shines that light from a mirror. It's magnified. Right. So you wish ill on me, it's coming back on you.
Yeah.
Because it just bounces off me. I'm just like, but I don't know.
You're Superman.
The one thing I feel extremely blessed is that the way I'm received here. Yeah. I get people just come up and have a chat with me. Yeah.
Well, every time I've seen you up, Matt, any of these things, you've always been polite. You've always given people the time of day.
Always.
People ask for a picture, you give them a picture.
Always.
And people, always walk away going, "Oh, Matt's a really nice guy." You know?
Well, you can easily make someone's day, but you can also easily break someone's day. For the sake of a picture, I was at Buckingham Palace the other day. I did 350 pictures.
Right.
But then received 350 plus messages afterwards saying thank you and
amazing. And
just like it is a small thing,
Yeah.
You can. But I'd rather be on that side of life than a negative side of life. I always try and lift people up.
So what was Buckingham Palace like then?
It was beautiful, actually. It was. Right. Actually, I've written a song called "Not Forgotten" for the Not Forgotten charity, Princess Anne.
Amazing.
For the soldiers. Yeah. As I said, I'm an honorary captain in the American Army. I've done a lot of philanthropic work. I'm lucky enough to receive the United Nations Humanitarian Award,
wow.
Which is a big deal for me, and I'm very proud of that, being my mother's son.
Have you actually had any actual awards bestowed on you, like a CBA or an MBA or anything like that?
No, that would be an honour. But I've done a lot. I've got over $15 million dollars worth of philanthropic work.
Wow.
I got the St George's Medal.
That's why you love that flag.
Yeah, but I love it because it's my country. Yeah. I will never ever feel weird about saying I'm a royalist. How much I love this country. Right. I feel like this country should let the grown-ups be grown-ups a little bit more and drive more than 20 miles an hour and just trust that we can handle ourselves and operate maturely and correctly rather than putting all these, it saddens me, like, as a Londoner, somebody wants to come into the theatre now, they got to spend a few £100 just to be able to park and get in here, and if they, somehow miss the lane that they're in, or there's all these rules, and you're very, very brilliantly getting rid of Londoners in our country, in our capital city, because it's, the average person can't afford a couple £100 to bring his family in. Let's say he wants to come into Leicester Square and park up and take his family home or take her family home.
Yeah.
I think that's criminal to me, talking about criminal connections.
Yeah.
It's all these stealth taxis that's going on, and just driving along with your kids and look at that, and suddenly finds himself in the wrong lane. It's fucking criminal to put people through. I live in a beautiful part of London, and it's just like, I don't hear Londoners' accents anymore. It's
but all that money that they earn, they put it to good use. They make all these bike lanes.
Yeah, and I'm all for bike lanes, but not to the point where I'm going. You're down Park Lane. No, you don't. You're absolutely right. But Park Lane, in your car now, if you were in the Victorian era, you'd be passed by a horse and carriage.
That is true.
We're regressing. It's like, it's okay for people that want to drive around the city as well. And I would say that to the mayor. It's like his way or the highway. And I don't know too much about him, but I know the common opinion. But it's just like, be prepared to listen to someone else's perspective.
Have you ever seen anybody actually use the bike lane? Because I haven't.
No, I mean, I've seen the attitude that if you dare cross one of those bike lanes.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I feel like it's not fair. Not fair. I feel this city is a beautiful city. It's my favourite city in the world.
Yeah.
But
well, a lot of people that are in hospitality that I'm friendly with have all said that they're down because people aren't coming in because of the congestion charge, because of the ULEZ, because of the trains being more expensive.
Well, tourists are coming in, but the Londoners, it's our city.
But the tourists are also not coming in as much because they've removed all the shopping taxes. So if you, most people go away somewhere where they can have fun and shop when they're on holiday. And obviously in Europe they do that duty-free shopping. So it's an actual proven fact that more people are going to shop in France and Spain than England. So we're losing all that money. I don't get it. This has always been, like one of the best places.
But why? Let me ask you something, because I want to, coming back, again, being in the States, like, there's uproar, but if something tries to get passed, there's uproar. Why? Where is the British voice? Where is the voice?
We don't have one. There's 20 people sit around the table, all trying to work out.
Why don't people stand up and say, I can't do much. I can speak my mind on it and maybe create debate.
Yeah.
But why are more people not creating debate about congestion charges and the cameras and stealth tax and all that stuff that's going on that just completely crippling people financially?
I honestly think, like, if you look at politicians in this country, they say, whatever they say tries to make everybody happy. And the thing is, in life, you can't make everybody happy. So there's going to be an opinion you have that I don't like. There's an opinion I have that you don't like, vice versa. But what they're trying to do is everybody's trying to make everybody happy all the time. It doesn't work. And I think that anybody that says, we should lose the congestion charge, people will say, well, people are dying of pollution. We've got to stamp it out.
Well, the last time cars that are idling emit way more toxic fumes.
I was with a cabbie the other day and I asked him the question. I said, if you think back 3 or 4 years ago, or when the congestion charge didn't exist, is it any busier, or is it, he said it's busier. He said you can charge people £100 a day to come in, because most people that come into London are lorries or for business, right? So they're going to still keep coming in because it goes through the company. So that isn't going to stop them coming in. So all it is a money-making tool. And someone said a great joke. They said, you have to pay this money to stop people dying of pollution, but if you pay, it's okay, they can fucking die. And you think, well, actually, it's true, right? Yeah. So the world has gone mad. But one of the other things that I wanted to announce today, Matt, as well, a lot of people won't know, but Matt has actually written a screenplay.
Yep.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because I read it, and it did surprise me on how good it was. And you told me it was good, but when people say I've written a script, it's really good, you always read it with that sort of thing where you go, well, is it really good or we need a bit of work? But it was really good, Matt. And I haven't got a hat on, but I'll take it off to you.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, it's called Cobbler Killer Stranger, and I'm really proud of it. It's a very dark psychological thriller, a little bit of the underworld in there as well, and the stranger is basically he's a psychopath, but he's somebody you can't take your eyes off in the fact that he's just so dark. And what he puts a character called Jason through is just brutal. And the outcome at the end is pretty brutal, but the twist at the end is just it all makes sense.
I honestly loved it, and I'm happy to announce that me and my old school pal are going to be making this movie at some point. So I'm really excited about it. And
I'm excited too.
And it's funny, innit? Because obviously we hadn't seen each other for a long time.
No.
And obviously because you was a couple of years above me in school, even though people might think it's the other way around. It's funny, isn't it? Because I remember you, everywhere I went, people were saying, have you seen Matt? And I'd be like, no, you've got to speak to Matt. And then I know when you was around, people
The whole time, always, you and Terry can get on like this. And we ended up having lunch and dinner together.
Yeah.
And then we became fast friends again. But we all know the same people, and yeah.
But it's funny, isn't it? And I'm a great believer in the universe connects you when you need to be connected.
I agree.
When you've got something to connect. I know I've gone through life doing all sorts of things, and people have popped up, and I've gone 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or I've been somewhere, and I've been to 7 or 8 places and kept bumping into these people, but never been formally introduced to them. And then I'm introduced to them, and they're like, oh, I haven't seen you before. How long have you been a member here? And you're like, I've been here 10 years. I've been here 10 years. But or I've been at these charity events or whatever. So it's funny how you get connected to people. So when you, because as a sort of obviously a sort of documentary maker and a filmmaker, one of the films that I wish I'd have made is your documentary.
After the screaming stuff.
Because I thought it was fucking brilliant.
Thank you, mate.
I genuinely, I like watched it, and when it won the BAFTA, I wasn't surprised because I just thought it was just so well done. I mean, and it also highlighted obviously, the tensions that you have between you and your brother in a band, and obviously unless people had gone through that and experienced it, they would never understand it. But I think what that documentary did was it reminded everybody how fucking big Bros were.
Bros. No, you're changing the name of the band. Jeez.
But Bros was massive, right? It was an institution, and all said and done, it made me laugh because it sort of took me back to that time, and I watched it with my wife and a few friends, and everyone said, "Oh, it was, God, because people forget." Do you know what I mean? But that it was a good reminder of all the great things you've done.
Yeah, it's an emotional film as well, like, for us, because I didn't realise how much pain my brother was in. I didn't realise, and I don't think he realised how much I was in. And my mother was she was a central character in my life, still is to me. And, I feel like since she's passed, we've kind of lost our way even more, I think, in some ways, because she was the catalyst of our...
Right.
Kind of our...
Because she used to bang your heads together.
Yeah, but she was the catalyst of us wanting to try for her sake always.
Right.
But doing that film, and just also after that film, when my brother played in Belfast, and Luke just said it's one of the best shows of his life, because we were just free off of Click, just on stage in Belfast, thousands of people, and that's my favourite version of my brother, and I hope that's the favourite version of me to him. But it's strange because since we were, born on the same day, went to school together, same band, I think that's where we've learned to operate within each other's company. Yeah. But I do miss just having to have a beer, watching an England game, and with my bro. So. The documentary, we didn't want it to be a fluff piece, we didn't want it to be, we wanted it to be real. Yeah. And it did very, very well all over the world.
And did you find that sort of brought you and your brother back together? Because like you said,
momentarily, momentarily.
Because that must have been a great feeling to the Bros back.
Yeah, listen, I've done thousands of shows by myself, and I've done 5 now in the last 20 years with Luke, and I miss it. He's definitely my favourite person to be on stage with. Yeah,
I think today, Matty, you've really shared some great stories with us. You've given us some great views on life. We've obviously celebrated all your successes. We've obviously talked about the future successes with Dr. Green and the movie. And is there anything else that I know you said you're working on music and stuff, and you're doing that thing for Princess Anne's charity for the. Yeah,
I'm excited. I've written some of the best songs of my life, and I'm going to be recording those, which is going to be really exciting for me. I think the only thing that will continue to save me is my music and being creative. That's when I'm happiest. When I'm not doing that is when I struggle. So I feel like I need to.
So in your mind, once you get in the studio with Dave and you sort of lay these tracks down, Are you going to like release a single and then do an album? Or
100%.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. 100%. Next year I really want to focus solely on creation and recontributing back to the industry and
2025 is the Matt Goss takeover.
I've got to.
You're going to capture the market. You're going to capture the music market.
Yeah.
You're going to capture the movie market. Because have you been in a movie? Have you acted before?
I've done stuff. I've been in stuff like movies like the Ciroc commercial with Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, Frank Vincent from Casino.
Yeah, amazing.
Diddy. So we filmed that for 3 days. So big production, but no, movies is something and beautifully blank canvas for me. And I am very excited about the biggest project in my life is I'm doing a musical of Upstairs Downstairs.
That'd be a laugh.
So 3.5 years it took to write it. But we are now actually tomorrow I'm going to have a meeting about. We have a theatre in the West End, so I will be playing Lord Bellamy. That is an exclusive.
I'll be calling you my lord. Yes, my lord.
But I'm excited about that. About something my dear friend Stephen Endelman and myself wrote for 3.5 years, and as a musical, 44 songs, beautiful story. Wow. Going to be really, really, and Ray Santilli's involved as well.
Oh,
so.
wicked. Good old Raymondo.
Come on board, mate.
I'm there, mate. I'm there. When do you anticipate getting on the West End? Will that be like this year?
Next year.
25.
25, yeah, another one.
You're not going to have any time next year, mate. You're going to be so busy.
Yeah, I'm just, but again, to just bring it back to social media and stuff, I feel like you don't have to, anyone watching, you don't have to post if you're not, to pretend that you're happy or you pretend that you're doing something. If you're going to post, just make it real and whatever it is. Like, you don't feel the pressure. Like, I felt that sometimes, like, I'm not posting much. Buckingham Palace, obviously, put that up.
You got to post that.
That's exciting. That was an exciting day for me.
Was King Charles there?
Princess Anne.
Oh, right, okay. So if King Charles was there, you'd have had to go on. Come on, Charlie, we're living the best life.
No, but I just feel like, be your authentic self.
Yeah.
And this year is me. I'm definitely excited about gathering momentum for myself internally and externally next year. And getting it all right and making sure the pieces all fit properly, and rather than rushing it all and panicking that I'm not putting enough out there this year. I'm doing a couple of shows this year, but apart from that, I'm getting ready for next year.
I think 2025 is going to be a big year. And
from your lips to God's ears, tell.
I'm there.
I rub his head for luck.
I'm like your Buddha, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm a Buddha, mate.
But Matt, thank you so much for
thank
coming
you, mate.
on. Honestly, I've really enjoyed having you on today.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of what you're doing, mate. And you're salt of the earth.
Well, no, I'm proud of you. We're proud of each other.
Yeah, we are.
We're the new bros.
You got the right haircut.
I'm going to get a turkey. When you see me next in 3 months' time, mate, I'll have
the Lego hair,
have a fringe,
right down here, just an inch above your brows.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Criminal Connection podcast. Matt Goss, what an amazing guest. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another great guest, and we will see you on the other side.